Hello and welcome to my session today. My name is Rafa. I spent the most time during the lockdown there where the blue dot is, and I live on a lovely farm close to the Bavarian mountains. So, what do? I work for the company Vitra as Trend Scout. Vitra is a design company, and my job is to travel around the globe to understand what is the future of work. So, how we will work, how we will lead, and how we will use space in the future. And what you see here, that is my toolkit. I would say that is my hardware. And before COVID, I go to the airport and visit 20 countries a year. But as you mentioned, the unpredictable come into our life, and we have to deal with the unpredictable. We would love that life would be predictable, but it isn't. So how to deal with that? And I think this is a fantastic picture that shows that at the end of the year, last year in December, it was the cover of the New Yorker magazine. And it was quite disappointing because you see, oh my God, what happens to our life? So we need a setup or we need a restart, I think, or maybe a reboot is not enough. And this is my new toolkit. And in coincidence, I'm at the same background today, like when I've done this picture. I have a small studio now with me every day, wherever I am. I can hold my webcast sessions. I have around 300 sessions a year now to talk to my audience instead to travel there and to meet them by video. So that shows us also how fast you could adapt your own work style into a new age. So ask yourself, place yourself in the year 2031. What will exist in 10 years from now, but does not exist today? Or the opposite, what will disappear in 10 years from now, what is today part of your daily work? And that is an interesting question that brings us to the relevance. That means the relevance of our job, maybe of your company, and how to serve best your customers. Looking to the future is not difficult because if you would ask Google, you get tons of answers. There are tons of reports outside to get an idea of what happens in 2031 or maybe 2040. But what's also interesting to look beyond your daily work and to learn for the other ones. I love to learn for the other ones. I'm so curious. And what you see here, that is the machine of my neighbor. He's a big farmer. I know he's not so big, but he's smart. So his entire agricultural field and everything, it's mirrored in a digital twin. So when he's going on his field to go to work, the truck can go autonomous without him because everything has a digital layer. And I was so surprised by accompanying him one day, and I asked him how productivity increased in the last 10 years from now. And he let me know more than 100%. And that shows, hey, there's so many things to do still, how we could improve how we work and how we learn and maybe how we serve our customers. That starts with understanding signals. What is understanding signals? I'll give you an example. The young lady is Lara Katuria. Lara Katuria works, she's an analyst for the Norwegian pension fund. The Norwegian pension fund is one of the most founded money-wise pension fund in the world, based on the oil of the Norwegian country. And she takes care about the money, so about the retirement money. And she was asked by a journalist, oh, that is ton of responsibility. How do you deal with that? And she came over with this answer. It's like you open up the newspaper in the morning and everything in this newspaper can be relevant for an investment decision. So, acting meaning, have the right information at the time and to get a mid and long-term perspective. And that is really necessary if you think about the future of work. I'll give you another example. I'm a huge fan of Akio Toyoda. He's the CEO of the Toyota Motor Company. I met him last year at the CES in Las Vegas. And he talked to a broad audience and he let us know how cool would it be to predict the future of the automotive industry? But nobody can predict the future. But they learned so many by building cars that the future of Toyota is beyond cars. And the future of Toyota are these 14 fields of action, 14 key technologies and key activities, and they are all dedicated to humanity. And that's so interesting. And he's convinced about the idea doing that he's not building a new office or home office. He's building an entire city. He's now building close to the Mount Fuji, the Toyota woven city with Bjarke Ingels. And in February 25, there was a groundbreaking ceremony. And here you can see how important it is first to understand signals, to ask yourself what could be, and to take over responsibility. It doesn't matter if you're the manager and if you're an employee or if you are a student. So to come to this point, it's not about to have new ideas. To come to these good things, you have to frame problems. So I love to talk about problem solvers and problem lovers. Problem solvers, they immediately solve the problem. And problem dreamers, these guys, they really dream about problems because they love there is something bigger beyond if they look beyond the glass. So, and you have to ask yourself if you are a problem solver and if you are a problem dreamer, because for proper framing, you have to be a little bit a problem dreamer. To come to that point, you have to build a mindset. I want to share with you my digital archive. What you could see here is you can Google Raphael's Flipboard and you come to my digital archive. Currently, there are around 3,000 articles, white papers, studies about culture, technology, economy, and society inside my archive about the future of work. And more than 65,000 times people flip into my archive. And these archives help me to understand what's going on today and to predict from today tomorrow. So, and I do that, by the way, even photographs love the scenery here. I do that by building a giant panorama. A panorama is a picture about the world ahead of us. But before I start with that, I ask myself questions. I ask myself, and even when I work with groups together, always questions. And I love what if questions. Why? What if questions is not about yes or no. What if questions is about to think what's beyond. So how we could endeavor the future. And this is a panorama on a large scale, 3.5 meters large. And here you see how it is built. And I want to share with you a few topics. First, we are entering the anywhere ecosystem of work. What means anywhere ecosystem of work? Okay, we got it, we could work from home. And even in the future, maybe, and you have no space at home, you can work in your neighborhood, maybe in a co-working space, in one of these new, smaller ones, not these big ones. And there are cities like Berlin, they have entire co-working ecosystems where companies offer their employees the opportunity to stay in the neighborhood instead of commuting. The second point is hotels in the cities are open the public and semi-public area for the knowledge workers to go there for work. And yes, there will be still in the future a headquarter or maybe your central office building, but these buildings, they are different. So from the past, from one place to go to work, you have a virus, you have an entire ecosystem about home office, third places, the office, and local hubs. And it's up to you to find the best place to do the best work. So the office in general lost the monopoly of work. To come to that point, you have to mirror yourself. Are you a person which is much more fully located, maybe on the company site? Or are you working maybe in several branches and at the headquarter? Or are you a little bit traveling? Maybe you go to headquarter a few times and the other days you stay at home. And so we come up with 5 models. Like me, I'm number 5. I work fully remote. I work whenever I want and wherever I want. And what makes it also a little bit challenging is the time zones. Like covering in the morning time, Asia, and I end up maybe with some calls with my friends in the States. So the anywhere ecosystem will stay. And it's up to you to find when to go to the office and why. So, but what is the office in the future? Let us know a little bit about the office. When I talk about the office, I talk about the campus community. By the way, the picture shows you one of the new Google headquarters in 2019, still under construction. They will opening soon. So at the end of the 10 years, we get these kind of office buildings. That is the Adidas World of Sport. And it was open in 2019. And what you could see here is the head office of Alnatura, one of the largest European organic grocery markets. And so you could see there was not a kind of generic layout or typology how an office should be designed. So, but what happens now in the future? We have 4 main drivers in the future. First, an old one is productivity. Good, got it. Second, innovation and inspiration. Innovation and inspiration in the future is so important for all of us. Why? Because routine tasks, they are less. Third is corporate culture. Corporate culture is the invisible social order of any organization. And the office has the body language of the corporate culture. And fourth is belonging, employee retention. You want to belong to a company. That's quite important, like you have your favorite football clubs. And these are these 4 topics. So how these spaces looks like. This office, what you could see here, is now under construction in Wuhan, in China. And the owner of this building, it will be Alibaba. It is their Chinese headquarters. But what is interesting is maybe the tower and even the garden are not quite surprising you. But what is surprising, what happens inside. So for a second, think about how the space could look like inside. And I will let you know what happens inside this. Designing spaces in the future means we have to understand how we work, how we lead, and how we use space. We have to think in domains. And the domains of Alibaba is like research, assembly, study, social, healing, living, recreation, life. So, and you will find never there the word work. For sure, people will work there, but work is different. Yeah. And what we have to understand is what are our own domains inside our organization. What we also need is that we have to empower each other. So how to do that? Maybe we have a chief places officer inside your organization, and maybe he organized on 2 or 3 days a week something special at your office that you're really willing to go there because you learn something you would never get the opportunity to learn these things maybe at home or on another space. So what we will believe workspaces in the future, it's really necessary to have this kind of body language that helps people to learn, collaborate, become more aware and reinvent the company. So, and I believe nobody wants to work anymore in the messy, boring, and maybe gray architecture of work. So yes, there's still a reason to go to these spaces because in the future they are special. Let us come to the next point. Virtual connectivity. What's that? I think that is your special field of interest because you really know how to deal with the things. We go direct to permanent beta. Okay, let us go direct to permanent beta. What is permanent beta? Companies now, they are in between exploitation and exploration. What does that mean? Exploitation means you do these things, what you have done in the past, and do them again, and again, because you're still earning money. Like a German car company built consumption cars. Exploration means to challenge the status quo. Like if you're building consumption cars, you have to rethink, oh, how could I build a car with no CO2 emissions anymore? That means exploration. And that's difficult for us because doing the opposite, it's quite difficult. Why? We have to know how we think and act. We all over the world, think and act same, inductive and deductive. Inductive means from role models to examples, and deductive means from examples to decision. So whatever you see, whatever you understand, you see, okay, know that, and then you know how to deal with that. But what happens with all the things which are new in your life, and you can't think inductive and deductive, you have to think abductive. That means you deal with things the first time, you have no idea how to start the team, you have no idea how to set up the process, and you have no idea what is the result. And these things are coming much more often to us. For that reason, we need a new typology of methods. That means business design methods. You could be educated today in every city in the world with more than 20, 25 business design methods. Business design methods, it's kind of a new language. It's like, if you think about abductive and deductive, it's like you have your mother language and then you learn a new language with a new grammar, with new phonetic. But these business design methods helps you to really deal with the transformation of your own organization into a new time. The other point is you need another typology of architecture. To be in permanent beta, you need a space which makes work visible, accessible. That is a fantastic building. It is the MIT Media Lab in Boston, built by Marquee Architects. And I love the number 8, the blue 8 on the left side, by the way, or if you see in the atrium on the right-hand side. Why? So if you are entering in the atrium, and you've turned around, immediately you get access to several labs. You see the hardware inside the labs, the people, and you get an idea what's going on. And that really increases your curiosity. I show you another example in Germany. This building is called the Arena 2036. It's close to Stuttgart, founded by the University of Stuttgart, by the government of Baden-Württemberg, by Mercedes-Benz, by Porsche, or by Bosch, with the idea to give startups and old existing companies a giant playground for their beta activities. And providing them this playground, they learn for sure for each other. Another example in the office is this place. This is not inside a design studio or architecture studio. No, it isn't. It is inside a giant consulting company. So I love this space because it is a little bit like the exercise hall for the brain. So when the teams come into the space, they immediately know how to set up, because it's so easy to set up this space. Second is work immediately becoming visible. And with any iteration, you learn something new. So what I love there is spaces need the ability to adapt, because adaptation helps companies to deal with this kind of change, support individuals and teams in their own activities. Why is permanent beta so important? In the decade ahead of us, the current economy is driven by permanent modifications and optimization. So it's not about the alpha state of mind, it's much more about the beta state of mind. And to be in the beta state of mind, you need to have a beta mindset, but you need to be surrounded also by a beta place. That brings me to my last topic. It's called talent transfer. Talent transfer is about the learnability. So our willing to learn. Learning will be in the future the strongest attractor for loyalty to a company. But why is learning so important? So we talk always, if you go to the OECD or to World Economic Forum or World Bank, they will let you know reskilling is so important. Why? First, we get new markets, and these new markets are so interesting. By serving these new markets, you need new jobs. And these new jobs are not trained at the university, so we have to train them on the go. And these new jobs are based on new skills. But how to deal with that? So you could learn that. It's not about if you have the skills or not. No, it's about how to lift up the entire organization into a new level. For that, we have to rethink how we set up teams. In the past, teams was embedded in a group, so and you couldn't be smarter like your smartest college. That was the collective intelligence. But in the future, a company could not grow alone outside their own. Learnability means real exploration, and you have to meet up as often people outside your company and outside your organization. So that is social learning. And social learning is the strongest momentum how you could learn. Organization-wise means hierarchy and metrics organizations will be in the future outdated. So you need network or liquid organizations in the future as more you want to learn. And out of coincidence, there are these spaces outside, like here east in London. Here east was the old press center of the Olympic Games. And after the Olympic Games, the building was handed over to the city of London. And so what happened there? Universities, startups, small, big companies, they go in and they have this social learning because there's so many interactions with people and even companies outside their industry and outside their own expertise. At Vitra, we name it the club office, and you can start tomorrow your own club office. So how does it work? So you have a public, a semi-public, and a private area. We know the private area from the past. What is quite more interesting is the public and the semi-public area. As more interaction, so as more you open your office to other companies and to provide the space to get interaction, and maybe you have lessons and learnings and workshops together, as more you create a club atmosphere. So reskilling and retraining are essential levers to fuel future economic growth. That we have to understand. And I believe, by the way, learning companies will be the biggest companies at the end of the 2020 years. What I've learned is ingenuity, not just the financial muscle, is important for the success. Why? We have new dynamics at work, so there are greater significance of knowledge work, agility, well-being, sustainability, staff retention. That brings us to new realities like social distancing, think about remote work or travel restrictions, and that brings us to new needs. So, if you're interested in more, you can follow me on LinkedIn. I leave there often articles and interesting reports about my work. So stay healthy. I hope you enjoy that. And it's up to you to design your preferred future of work. That means how you work together, how you want to lead, and how you want to use the space. Thank you.